Attention duelists!
It's most Hi everyone, it's Moscow talking, and I have the pleasure to have with me Honey to talk about this project that this month get 6 months old. Honey?
Yep. 6 months, so the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression server.
Yeah. Did you expect the project last so long?
Not at all. Like I said in the original interview, I had already been doing the server for about 2 months before. I did it a month before SEMO's first episode came out, and then I didn't actually start advertising it on Reddit until like a month after. And so like I had already had like 2 months of just nothing happening, and so I was expecting the same response when I put that notice up on Reddit the first time around, and suddenly I got like 6 people who are interested. And okay, that's cool, that's interesting. We'll play a few games, we'll see how this is going, and then more and more people kept coming, and now we've got like 9 people every week joining our tournaments consistently.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's an average, but we have had tournaments with 16 players, and also those 9 average players not always are the same. What I want to mean is that it's a considerably player base.
But yeah, on average, we just have like we have like around like 40 people on the server now, I think.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, no, maybe more, like the last month, I think. I mean, this I think this show the consistent in the playing. We have 2 separate tourneys every week.
Yeah, yeah, the weeklies and the qualifiers now that we've set up to allow for more casual play. I don't know how many people have been playing the weeklies so far. I haven't been keeping up with the statistics over there, but it hasn't been that much. Only about like 4 or 5 people have been playing in the weeklies.
That's correct, but it has been consistently like around 4-3 people. I mean, I see it like a good sign. What has been the biggest problem the community has faced?
That's a good question. I think the biggest problem we had to deal with was when we started restructuring everything, because with the start of the new year, we started to realize that the original model that we had the server operating under, because we did this by the seat of our pants. We didn't really have a plan when we set up the established rules. We had like sort of when I wrote up the original guidelines and rules for the server, I was just writing the experience that I thought would create the most enjoyable play experience. This is how I felt it would be the funnest. But it became very clear that not everyone was like that's what happens when you play test something. You establish the base rules by yourself, and then you bring in people to play test, and you establish a server. You just realize that you got to add a few more rules. You got to remove a few rules, edit a few of them. You got to change things up around. And when New Year's came around, we had to suck it up and realize, okay, we got to make some real drastic changes. And we said, and a few weeks ago, we had the Invasion of Chaos release, and we decided to with the release of that set to just completely flip the table and change how the entire server was, and that was a big one. That was a big tough decision we had to do, and we're still ironing out all the details with this new server, new structure and rules that we've established.
Would you like to share with the people hearing this some of those changes that started after Invasion of Chaos?
Well, the big important one was we no longer allow players to buy individual singles. We noticed very quickly that a lot of players who came to the server were very much looking for an identical experience to the SEMO experience, which I made it clear with my original post and that this was not intended to be a SEMO thing. The server existed before SEMO. This was intended to be its own just I like going through history. I like exploring history and the progression of like the name progression series does not mean whatever SEMO's experience is. It just means progressing through, like going from point A to point B to point C. It's just progress, moving it forward in time. And that was what the point of the server was. But a lot of people really wanted a more random format. They did not like that everyone was playing the best deck, that everyone was playing these ultra consistent decks. They wanted things to be more they wanted more randomness. They wanted players to be playing more different decks, which is not going to be a thing that's going to be possible. Like even with that, we've got so many people on the server now with so many cards flowing in and out that's just not going to be possible for everyone to be able to have a diverse and different format. We're trying that. We're exploring different ban list options to hit certain cards to try to encourage diversity in the format. But that's just you're going to end up with top tier decks and bottom tier decks with just no one's going to be playing Amazonas. No one's going to be no one's going to be playing those decks because they're just not good compared to like Gravekeepers and Chaos, and those decks are way better just because they have better cards in their archetype. And but that was a big reason thing we fixed was we made it that players could no longer buy singles as a way to throw a bone to those players who all wanted the experience to be a lot more random and chaotic. So players now have to buy packs, and if they buy a certain number of packs, they can get additional singles of their choice along with them. So people still have the option to dig for specific cards that they really need, but they also have the option to just buy a bunch of packs and then trade with other people. That was something we wanted more to be done. We definitely wanted more people to be trading cards on the server. We did not want everyone to just be buying cards over and over again and just depleting their money and all that. We wanted people to be exchanging cards and have an actual economy going on. That and we've seen that actually with the inclusion of the rules. Just the past 2 weeks of this format being in existence, we've had a skyrocketing amount of people actually trading in the game shop. People have been passing cards around, making deals and bargains. It's a very proud point with that change.
We even saw a player that take the character of card dealer, isn't it?
Yes, it's basic evolution there. If a new ecological niche forms, somebody will evolve to take over that ecological niche. In this case, a new economy was formed of trading cards, and so they saw the ecological niche of somebody who was a card trader.
Nice. In the other hand, what have been the biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. I'm sure. I definitely think that one 16 player tournament we had one time, that was a big achievement. Having that many people at one time all playing on the weekend, that was a pretty big moment. We did have the pure chaos tournament, but that was more of a meme. It didn't really we didn't really have anything that really we didn't push the meta or cause any really cool strategies to come about. It kind of just ended up with like this most degenerate thing ever, and it was not really what I would consider praiseworthy or anything like that.
Okay. Something that did surprise you? Surprise you? No, I don't know. Whatever.
I was surprised by how broken Chaos still is. Like, we play with the modern errata wordings of the cards. We mostly do that because that's how every card is listed in the on the wikis and on the card databases, like on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. And so it's more efficient to just use those resources and know exactly what the card is, rather than forcing their players to dig up old rulings about what the cards originally did. Especially since some cards literally did completely different things with different wordings. Like the big example is Raiko of the Lightsworn, where sometimes he would pop a card or mill, other times he would pop a card then mill, other times he would pop a card and mill at the exact same time. Very different interactions with how his effects worded, just because he was errated so many times. And we felt that with Chaos Emperor Dragon at his current errata being so bad, that Chaos itself wouldn't be that strong. Unfortunately, we did not take into account how utterly busted Blackluster Soldier was. Blackluster Soldier is, I honestly think, actually, with the erratas, is way more busted than it is the Blackluster Soldier is the most busted card currently in our format. It just spot removal, kills anything it wants to on the field. It just beats over everything. You can't set anything face down to try to get to generate any card advantage with like battle floaters, because you'll just banish them and then just attack the next turn, because you're not generating any card advantage off of that. It's really, really annoying dealing with this card, and it's so easy to make him, and even if we limit Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Sorcerer is just a mini BLS. And so it's really hard to deal with the redundant nature of these cards, especially with how big and bulky these cards are. Like, Konami releases Chaos wasn't the only archetype to get released in Invasion of Chaos. We also had a bunch of really powerful beast monsters designed for an aggro deck. We had Berserk Gorilla, and we had Enraged Battle-Ox, which were very specifically designed to push a beast-oriented aggro deck into the format. And it just can't compete with Chaos on an aggro level, because beasts, the biggest monster that beasts can usually make is 2,000, sometimes 2,300 if they're managed to get the Manticore out, which is not very often, considering it doesn't have any. It's not a very easy way to get it out, and so you just end up with like, you can't run over anything, because the smallest thing Chaos can make is Sorcerer, and that's still got a 2,000 booty and 2,300 attack, so you can't run over anything with the dedicated aggro deck in the format. So yeah, the biggest surprise we had was just how broken Chaos is as a deck. Like, we have the boogeyman of, oh, Chaos was so broken, but we have it as this legend, this ancient myth of what Chaos was. Like, a lot of us weren't even playing Yu-Gi-Oh! When Chaos was the boogeyman. And so we don't really think about what Chaos could have is still, if we look at it like that.
Yeah, even Witch of the Black Forest being errated, it's a so powerful searcher.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, where do you see the project in the next month?
Where do I see what?
The project, the server, the community?
Oh, the project. The project. Well, we have a few more sets coming in. They're very filler sets, not a lot of big changes in the individual sets themselves. Cypress usually handles the day-to-day scheduling updates. We have Soul the Duelist coming out. We got the new collector's tins. Got a few. We got some new King of Games tournaments coming out. But the big thing is just trying to tune the meta with the ban lists and the because we finally included actual ban lists. We have ban lists and we have limited lists, and we're just the goal for the next few weeks, maybe the next month or so, is just trying to reshape the format in a way that's balanced. We're probably going to end up banning BLS eventually. We're going to end up having Sorcerer and CED limited. Trying to make Chaos as manageable as we can, because we don't want to kill it, because Chaos is still, it's an archetype people like to play, and there's not really any other deck that does what Chaos does, and it's a fun deck to play.
Yeah,
It's
fan
just
favorite.
its power level is just too high, so we just need to, we don't want to kill it, we just want to kneecap it. And that is a big thing we have planned in the future. Other than manipulating the meta and dealing with ban lists, that's, I think, the big thing. That's the big thing we got going on right there.
Well, thank you, honey, for your time. Thank you for being here, and thank you for this funny server project that you have bring us to all of us.
Thank you. And yeah, if anybody wants to come join us, just come on by. Our doors are always open to anyone who wants to come by. I'm sure Moss will include a link to the Discord in the description of this interview.